So it's a pretty pleasant afternoon as I'm sitting out here. I decided to kind of take the microphone, pick it up, turn it on, and start talking. To describe the scene for you, it's a pretty day. Late week, midday, so it's pretty quiet. I'd say it's around 2 in the afternoon or so. 2 p.m. I'd say. The weather's pretty good. I'd wager it's a little cooler than it was yesterday. Yesterday was warm. Yesterday was unseasonably warm, even for Florida. It was in the 90s yesterday. Very, very hot. A very hot day. But today's much nicer. Cooler temperatures. I'd say in the 70s, where it should be around this time of year. So I'd say in the mid-low 70s, a little bit of a cooling breeze, as I'm certain you can hear in the background and maybe even pick up on this microphone, though I don't really know how well it does pick up the wind. But it's very pretty, very nice, mostly sunny skies, though looking over to the west, I suppose it is, I see some high clouds moving in. Very high, though. They're very high upper atmosphere clouds, maybe some cirrus clouds, kind of moving in. But over to the east, completely clear, blue skies with a little bit of haze at the horizon. And the sun is obscured behind a few tree branches, so I'm able to sit out here in the shade. And overall, things are just pretty calm, quiet, placid, peaceful. Very nice, with the occasional car passing by. As you can hear, the occasional small airplane, for the most part, going by. But otherwise, things are nice, things are pleasant. Thankfully, no drummer from hell to, come in and interrupt that. Aside from a little dog barking here and there or something, that's fine. Doesn't bother me, so at least I have that peace of mind to be able to record something for all of you today. Now, of course, these shows are not something to be scheduled. After I did the last one, of course, it was a welcome change for many people. They saw these shows coming back, and they were very happy to see that. They said, "Wow, it's awesome that he's recording these YouTube VORW programs once again." And I understand the feeling. I'm certain a lot of people were very happy to see that, because I know it had been quite the break. I suppose that's really the best way to describe it. It had been quite the break since the last one. So I understand that it was likely 6 months since I had last uploaded one of those shows. So to finally get one, just out of the blue, essentially, obviously came to many as a very welcome surprise. You had some people that came to it and they were saying, what the F is this? Why am I going to listen to this guy blabber on for however long it was? They didn't get it. And that's fine. Nothing's for everyone, I get that. But many of the folks who were avid listeners were very happy to see it, happy to get another installment. Better late than never, right? That's how the saying goes, and that was a lot of the sentiment that I felt at the time. A lot of people were very happy to see it. As I said, better late than never. But there were a couple of folks, and even when I was doing these shows at a more frequent rate, there were a few folks who were like this, and that was kind of revisited in the last upload, where I explicitly mentioned in the show that I had hit that writer's block, and I was motivated to do the show that one time around because I had something on my mind something to discuss, something to talk about, and then through that, one thing led to the next, and to the next, and to the next, and there we had a show. But that was a unique circumstance. And I tried my best to make it clear, but sometimes I know you could try your best and results aren't guaranteed. So, of course, despite that, in the last show, I had a few people saying, "Oh, right, back at it. Show, next one's coming out next week, right?" Right, next week. What do you mean it's not? I thought you said you were going to put one out every week from now on. What's going on? Because some people, it's no fault of their own. It's just the way some people are. One can expound and explain on a desired point for as long as they want. And the efficacy of their efforts will never be 100%. I could go on indefinitely and say, listen, this show is going to be coming out at an indeterminate rate. Maybe once a month, maybe once every month and a half, maybe once every 6 months, I don't know. It's going to be an indeterminate rate. And I can go on and on and on about that for 45 minutes. And you will still end up with people saying, okay, so I'm going to expect a new one a week from now, right? Well, the fact of the matter is, these shows are done on what I feel is an as-needed basis. Means I'll do a show when I feel I need to do one. And I don't know how often that'll be. Next week is doubted. But next month, I give the shoulder shrug. I give the metaphorical shoulder shrug and say, hey, you know what? Just keep your eyes peeled. You never know what you're going to get. So that's where that stands. But no matter what, it's a new show. The way I see it, at least, and this is from my perspective, but I know the perspective of the content creator versus the audience is always a different one. At least we got a new show coming out right now, right? At least we got a new show. Might not be on a weekly basis, but even if it's on a monthly basis, right? Something is better than nothing. So, I would just be happy we got a new one out. I was thinking for a while, it's another, because the comments are, uncontrollable is not the word to use to describe it. But it's when there's such a voluminous amount of comments now, because of the natural growth of the channel, that I can't really pay too much attention to individual comments anymore. Same thing with the email. Like the Rep Week interview one email inbox is just so crowded. I can say, wow, you could put inquiries there, you could write there. But it's so full at this point, my eyes may very well gaze over it and likely see your email, but will I be able to respond to it in writing? I won't. I used to say, well, maybe it's possible, but at this point that's changed to I won't be able to. As just the sheer amount that comes in every single day is too much. I can't do it anymore. But if you want to get in touch with me, you could write in there. But response is not guaranteed, just due to the fact, as I said, the volume is just too much, and it can't be managed. Yeah. But anyway, I was looking at the comments sometimes. I do peruse them. I do browse them. I check them out here and there. And one thing that does get suggested every so often, I'd say, I bet you could find it maybe, well, I don't know. I have no statistics or anything, and if I were to give any numbers, it'd be incorrect, even metaphorical things, but I could check around on some of the VORWs, and you look long enough, you'll find one at least, where an individual will be asking about the night walk segment. And they'll say, bring back the night walks, bring back the night walks. And I think that is a sentiment that exists. But unfortunately, you know the 3 rules: location, location, location. Location. It all depends on where you are. Can it be conceived reasonably? What sort of an undertaking would it be? Is it safe? Is it practical? Unfortunately, circumstances considered, it's not. So I'm not able to do them anymore. But my goodness, I enjoy getting the fresh air. I enjoy sitting outside, listening to the radio outside. I mean, I'm sitting on this bench right here. I got a little bottle of water, a little bottle of cold water. Here's the water. And I have my radio sitting next to me, too. It's a good place for listening, because it's away from electronic interference, so, I could just turn the radio on, right? Reception's good. Like, there's a station to Africa right there coming in good. Good reception, it's good. But anyway, I like sitting outside. I like being outside. Unfortunately, the night walks themselves, it's just something at this point that can't be done. At the time, I was able to go through an area that was non-residential and do my thing. But that's just not the case at this point. Even then, you gotta remember, when I did the night walks, number one, of course, walking at night. And this I say in the eyes of your neighbors, law enforcement, private security, whatever. Walking at night is not considered normal. Right? Now I accept that, and I don't care. I enjoy walking at night, and go ahead, let them question me, let them say, what are you doing? Well, that's fine. I'll show them my ID, say, listen, I live right here, I'm just going for a walk. What are they gonna do? Anyway, despite those feelings, there's a difference, let alone between that, which again, some people would raise suspicions just by walking at night. And walking around with a small microphone, talking to yourself, while you're walking around in the streets at 3 a.m. There's a big difference. One sets off some raised eyebrows, the other sets off red flags. Because they won't see the microphone. And if they do, they won't, they'll see some guy walking around talking to themselves. They'll think, oh this guy, he's nuts, he's gonna break into my house, he's gonna kill everyone. That's going by the better safe than sorry approach. Or they'll think, who's this guy talking to? Is he like on a cell phone or something? What's he doing? Is he trying to coordinate something? Is he casing a place out? Don't feel safe. Don't feel comfortable. And quite frankly, I don't feel comfortable doing that in a residential area. That's why it was an exceedingly rare circumstance, as is, to be able to do those night walks, because it was in an area that was non-residential, so there was just no one there to even have any metaphorical eyebrows or flags raised in the first place. But even then, when I did those night walks, I had the option of where I wished to walk. Never once did I venture into the residential area and decide that's where I want to walk, because I just didn't feel comfortable doing that. Well, now, when the only option is residential, and higher population too, might I add, you just have to cross it out. It's okay to go on the occasional night walk as is, but just going around and talking the entire time, seemingly to yourself, is just, it's pushing it, it's pushing the envelope. It's something that I don't feel comfortable doing. And when you don't feel comfortable doing something, especially when you're doing it for an audience, that shows. Some people, they say, yeah, well, just BS your way through it. The listeners, they're not going to care. They just want to see a new thing. They're not going to notice. No. They're going to notice. I find that kind of insulting, actually, when people say that. I find that insulting to the audience. That's like someone saying, yeah, well, your viewers are so stupid, they're not even going to be able to tell the difference. No, they will. They will. They're perceptive. People are very perceptive. People would be able to tell. So, with that, I'd rather do what I'm comfortable doing in an environment where it's most comfortable, and that will also lead, as I feel, to the highest quality of content as well, which you guys will be able to pick up on. Because otherwise, if I were trying to do something and, do it, as I said, even as inconspicuously as I could, in a residential area, I'd be sitting there, I'd be looking around, seeing as there's a car coming, alright, I'm gonna stop the microphone, not gonna say anything, I'd have that voice hushed a little more. You guys would be able to pick up on it, and you would say it right from the bat. It wouldn't be the same. Wouldn't be the same. Now, the good news is that I enjoy recording outside. If you like that outside atmosphere, right? Instead of, recording this in one of those padded rooms, with the little, what are those? The perforated walls, that's supposed to really just maximize any interfering noise. When the voice sounds almost over-processed and oversaturated. You're in luck. I like recording these outside. I like sitting outside and just recording these right here. So you can hear the background. You could hear the birds chirping. You could hear that chicken over there crowing away. You could hear the wind chimes, cars passing, planes passing, whatever else is going on. So you still get that outdoor aesthetic, so to speak. That hasn't gone anywhere. Yeah, that's never left, because I enjoy doing that. And I feel the best way, because I know that the way the night walks, a lot of people liked the fact that I was walking. Really, when I walked, I mostly focused on, expressing my views on the environment surrounding me. I really, when I did those night walks, 9 times out of 10, I would talk about where I was, what I was walking, if a car was coming by or not, etc., etc. You hear that? I think that's someone firing a gun right there. I don't know. You hear that over here in Florida all the time. People do target practice in their backyards. But I would focus again on expressing my thoughts on the environment. Well, one way to combine the two as best I can, I could say, well, you know, here I am kind of sitting here, and you could hear the sounds, right? You could hear that guy over there firing off his gun doing target practice right now. You could hear this car driving by. You can hear the wind chimes. You hear the little breeze. And as a result, you can kind of paint yourself a picture of the environment, and if you wish, perhaps even take yourself there as well, just as many did with those night walks. Maybe there's no way to actually replicate those night walks anymore. But there's certainly ways to get an alternative that at least I would consider to be rather viable. My 2 cents. You know, it's granted. Some people, they'd say night walks are nothing. But other people, you know, they might say, yeah, you know, I know this isn't the same thing. I know it doesn't have that same thing, but maybe if I do focus on those things, focus on the environment, focus on the ambient noise, hey, you never know, right? Could be just as relaxing, just as soothing, have that ASMR type effect, which many have described from these shows. Yeah, hey, you never know. Sometimes it's these little things like this in the background and stuff, they go unnoticed because people, they just want one certain thing. But when brought to attention, they could be noticed, regarded, and perhaps emphasized positively. Yeah, my 2 cents, right? Let me check the recorder here, take a little swig of water, and see how long I've been at it for. Let's see this. 22 minutes, not too bad. Let me perch this on my knee. Got my water bottle here. What type of car is this going by? Mid-size. Light gray. Well, I have one thing I want to share in this show. And it's already recorded. So, there's that. In it, now I know by the time this is up, I'm not setting up any expectations. I'm not setting up any deadlines. Nor am I setting up any dates. This is up when it's up. You know? That's fair. That's fair and square. So I don't know when this is going to be up. It can be up March 5th. I can't believe it's already March. Could be up March 10th. March 15th, March 31st, 4th. I don't know. March, insert date here to put it the best. I don't know when it could be up. And I'm not going to make an assertion as to when it'll be up. But there is one thing that we are certain about. February 20th, which marked the 7-year anniversary of the channel, has come and gone. Right, it's come and gone. It's behind us. But this channel has celebrated 7 years. And during that week of February 20th, I recorded a segment on this. There goes a convertible, white. I recorded a segment for the international radio broadcast. But unfortunately, because the time limit's merely an hour, I didn't have the chance to air the work in its entirety. But I thought it was a good enough talk. I saved the file. I archived it. And it's something that I want to share with all of you in full. Now, what this talk is, I would say it really comes out to be about 30 to 40 minutes in length. I had to condense it down to 20 in the broadcast, because I wanted to acknowledge a couple listeners, some questions, and play some songs too. So I had to cut it down to 20 minutes in the show. And if you're a VORW radio listener, that's what you heard. But I have a full-length, about 40-minute long talk where I talk about the channel, because it was in reference to the channel's 7-year anniversary. 7 years is quite a long time, and it's certainly something to talk about, certainly something to discuss. So with that, I kind of look upon the early days of the channel, going 7 years back to 2011, and I talk about it. I kind of mention what gave me that idea, what gave me that drive and inspiration to do the channel. Is that? Nah. Sometimes you see some military aircraft here. I thought that was, what is that, a V-22 Osprey? Usually the Marine Corps uses those. I saw one of them the other day, but this isn't it. This is just a single engine. Anyway, sometimes it's just tough to tell from such a distance. Sounds closer than it is. It must be miles away, but the drone of the engine is certainly... It probably sounds like it's right here. But anyway, in the talk, I kind of discussed the early days of the channel, what gave me that motivation and drive to start it up, and then I kind of go through it through the years, where things are today, and I try to add a little bit of a motivational aspect to it. Where I try to say, much more eloquently than I am now, as I'm paraphrasing, that if you have an idea, especially when it comes down to the creative aspect of things, my personal recommendation is, if you have the idea and resources, I suggest you employ it and see where it goes. You never know where it'll take you. You never know what the future holds. But there is no future if you never go ahead with that idea in the first place. Anyway, that's a little preview of the remix, the lecture, in the wise words of R. Kelly. And I hope you enjoy it. As I said, timestamp is about 20, I would say probably 35 minutes or so, 40 minutes. So stay tuned, hope you enjoy it. You're listening to VORW, the voice of the Report of the Week. As a number of you know, I operate a YouTube channel, really for a living. For those of you who don't, because I do discuss it in a number of broadcasts and shows, this YouTube channel is called The Report of the Week. That's just one long word. It's a really conjunction of words, but it's no spaces there. The Report of the Week. And this YouTube channel has celebrated, well, two pretty big events. One I find of greater significance. That's really what I'm basing the show around. But the other certainly shouldn't be undermined either. This YouTube channel just recently broke 700,000 subscribers, which is incredible. That's an incredible number in terms of growth. Just a month ago it had 600,000, and now we're at 700,000 subscribers. So those numbers in and of themselves, it's incomprehensible. I find that this last month it was a little bit of an anomaly. If it ever does make it to 800, it'll, I imagine, take a little bit longer, because this is just a very good month, an unusually good month. And nonetheless, though, a wonderful, wonderful feat, nonetheless, in a place I never saw this channel being. Now, using a lot of those very same terms, as a matter of fact, 7, that seems to be the lucky 7, right? Lucky 7 as it is. February 20th of this year, 2018, this YouTube channel has also celebrated its 7-year anniversary. 7 years. As a matter of fact, on the very early hours of February 20th, 2018, the YouTube channel got to 700,000 subscribers as well, so that's just a funny little coincidence that it got 700,000 subscribers on the 7-year anniversary, February 20th, 2018. But yes, this YouTube channel, which I really do as my livelihood, upon which this radio broadcast is an extension thereof, it's something when I look back upon it, it almost amazes me. It amazes me how far it has come. You see, dear listeners, I do this YouTube channel now as a variety channel, you could say. Where, yes, I do food-related videos, and I'll give my opinions and conjecture regarding it. But I try to add variety to it also. If I have something on my mind, I try to deliver my thoughts on the matter in really a very friendly, non-controversial way. I try to just create a warm, fun, welcoming atmosphere for people to kind of tune into and, watch a couple videos should they please. But I'll do that. I'll discuss some miscellaneous topics. I'll do a few podcasts. Of course, I do this radio broadcast, which goes out on SoundCloud, TuneIn, and Shortwave. But I started this YouTube channel out on February 20th, 2011, with no long-term goal in mind. I started it out because I had an idea, and I had the means to apply that idea. You see, of course, 7 years now. Time certainly does fly, and I look back upon it as if it were yesterday. But for me, 7 years ago, I was a younger person, granted. And at that time, I had a lot of curiosity in terms of energy drinks. Right, you know what I'm talking about. Monster, Red Bull, 5-Hour Energy. Maybe you see it in the supermarkets. You see a sticker for it. You see a commercial for it. You see some sporting event that's sponsored by Red Bull, right, or Monster. Maybe you're a consumer of it. Maybe you've had 1 or 2 of them. Maybe you are aware of what they are, but you've never had one. Or maybe you just don't know what they are to begin with. Well, energy drinks, of course, are carbonated and very highly caffeinated beverages, which are supposed to serve as an alternative to caffeine if you need that energy boost to either start your day or continue your day. If you need to work overtime, study, stay up late to listen to this VORW show or whatever it is. But at the time, I saw all these energy drinks in the supermarkets, and I saw, the marketing, the packaging, the presentation and representation of them. And I had this curiosity. I thought to myself, I wonder what these taste like. I wonder how effective they are. I wonder how one differs from the next. At the time I saw these commercials for 5-Hour Energy. Well, what makes that so special than Red Bull or Monster? Etc., etc. I had all of these questions, all of these curiosities emerging. Now, of course, one could just go to the convenience store, buy an array of these drinks, kind of set them up on a table, and, either go on a metaphorical energy drink bender, or just consume them, in a span of time and just kind of mark down the result on their own and just have it for their own personal interest. But you see, there's a second part that comes to play, because I had that idea. I had that curiosity. I wanted to know about these energy drinks. I wanted to know about their effectiveness. But at the same time, there was something that I had at my disposal that tied it all together. You see, at the time I had a flip video camera. Small little flip camera, the successor to the camcorder. Digital 720p camera. Could plug it into your computer, download the files, and, should you wish, upload it to YouTube or whatever. And at around the same time, I had this camera, but I didn't know what to do with it. There I was maybe on occasion, filming something here, filming something there, taking little home movies, filming maybe some scenery outside or something, but nothing of any significant substance. And at that time, I had this camera. I didn't really know what to do with it. So I was thinking to myself, gosh, I wish there was something that I could do to put this camera to use. Well, there you had the components. You had the idea. And you had the resources. And at some point in time, now I'm not going to be able to specifically pinpoint where, or when, or how. Unfortunately, I cannot give you a tale as vivid enough to state, well, it was after midnight when the wolves howled on, Tuesday the 1st of February 2011. I don't know if it was a Tuesday. And I had a vision come to me at the night of a YouTube channel where I reviewed energy drinks. I wish it was as vivid as that, because that'd make for a darn good story, but I'm afraid it wasn't. Rather, it just came to me. It just somehow clicked where I thought to myself, maybe it'd be fun for me to just go out, try out these energy drinks, and just kind of set the camera up and film myself giving a little assessment. Hey, I'll do it once, I'll see how much I like it, and if I like it, I'll go from there and maybe make it a little hobby. So 7 years ago, on February the 20th, 2011, set myself up, got the camera set up, got the energy drink I wanted to review out. It was a 5-hour energy. Filmed it. I uploaded it to YouTube. And I remember as I did that, I thought to myself, you know what? I think this is pretty fun. I think this is pretty enjoyable. I made the YouTube account the very same day. I titled it The Report of the Week, because the intention was one video, right? One report, originally, as I said, on these energy drinks, every week. It's going to be one video every Sunday afternoon. One report per week. The report of the week. So I uploaded it. And I made it public. It wasn't an overnight sensation. But that didn't change anything. As a matter of fact, it was weeks until I even got one single subscriber for that YouTube channel. But that didn't stop me. Because there I was. I had my little show at that point. It was something that I was doing on a weekly basis, and I was having fun doing it. That's important. I was having fun doing it. How many views those videos got, how much feedback they got, how many subscribers I got as a result from those videos, it didn't matter. I had my own little show. It was kind of like a hobby at the time, right? It was something I was looking forward to do. Alright, what energy drink would it be this week? Alright, let's try out this one. Set it up. I'd film it. I'd kind of do my own little show. I did it off the cuff, but it was fun. I would film it. I would, it was always curious how it would taste. I would try to make a few little jokes here and there, and I was just having a lot of fun doing what I was doing with the channel. And that's how it started out. And I would say it was perhaps about a month or two later. Again, I can't pinpoint a date perhaps, but I would wager maybe April or May of 2011 when I made the decision. I said, you know what? I've been doing the videos once a week, every week for a couple months now. I'm really enjoying this. I had the intention of this being a little study upon which I would have a cumulative result at the end. But I decided, you know what, I'm going to scrap that idea. I'm going to scrap that idea, And I'm just gonna make this, my thing. As I said, I'm enjoying doing this. Why stop it? So I decided, you know what? I'm gonna keep this going. I'm gonna keep it going for as long as I wish to keep it going for. So I kept doing the energy drink reviews week after week. Built up a small but loyal audience, many of which were people whom I knew at the time, personally, but a few people who found it on the online search results, you know. Maybe a friend of a friend, and someone posted this, or they found it when they were searching for energy drink reviews, whatever it was, but it was a small but loyal audience at the time. Come 2012, I decided to expand the channel a little bit. I think it was one of the first things I did in 2012. I said, you know what? I like doing the energy drink reviews. I have a lot of fun doing that. But I want to expand the horizons a bit as well. And I said, you know, I think I'm going to try to review some food. Just, again, same type of deal. Set up the camera, start it up, film it, upload it. So I started out my food review series, beginning with just going through the McDonald's menu. And it was from there, of course, which a lot of you online viewers and listeners probably recognize this idyllic phrase. Hello everyone, this is Running on Empty Food Review. Right, that's where that came from. As the signature, you can say, start off phrase for those reviews. And I started that in 2012. I kept that going too. In late 2012, I started branching out the channel even further. As I said, this was something now that I wasn't doing anymore for any sort of study or test. It was something I was doing for fun. So I started branching it out even more. Started making some random videos covering random topics. In 2013, a video of mine was posted to Reddit, which is a pretty big site, a pretty popular site. As a result, it was passed around. That's how I really got my first significant audience, because up until then, during the first 2 years of the channel, I had a small audience. About 200 people subscribed, and maybe a couple dozen regular viewers. But when it got posted to Reddit, this video did, the one video got about close to 300,000 views in a couple days. And the channel itself got about maybe 2,000-3,000 subscribers. And now it was a little bit, it was like a, however you want to call it, a sensory overload. I took a little break from the channel after that, but I returned in March 2013. And I kept things going. I kept doing the food videos, the energy drink videos. 2013 and part of 2014, it was a rough year because, of course, with anything, you know, I, of course, associate it with YouTube because that's really the focal point here, but it could be anything. It could be music, writing, radio shows, whatever. The bigger it gets, the more feedback you get, and not all of that feedback is going to be good. As a matter of fact, some feedback that you get will be very vulgar and offensive, and, you know, it'll be an outright attack against you. And I got a lot of that back in 2013, early 2014, you know. People saying every word in the book, right? Things I'm not going to repeat here, but, you know, you name it. You know, swears and insults against every single characteristic of me you could imagine. The way I spoke, way I look, way I dress, the way I live my life. People telling me if they saw me, you know, they would sucker punch me without hesitation. A few people said, you know, they would go and outright kill me. Well, why? I have no idea. Whether they were serious or not in their remarks, I won't offer for debate. But nonetheless, I made the mistake of taking all that personally. And at the time, it got me really down. You know, it was a rough patch. It was a rough patch, as I call it. But I, over time, learned that all of these comments, especially the negative ones, that are posted on YouTube, or posted on these online forums, or wherever, take it with a grain of salt. They'll say what they say, and you will hear everything if you're there long enough. Ignore it. Forget about them. Think about why you started this channel in the first place. And think about the audience that you have, the people that are there, and that you know are genuine viewers, genuine supporters. If anything, do it for them. If you're going through kind of one of those rough patches where you're dealing with a lot of, this is a word, it's not a real word, but one I like to use, a lot of criticistic individuals, you know, a lot of individuals offering just very, very harsh criticism and hatred, etc., etc. But 2014 was a good year for the channel as it progressed. I kind of got over that hump, got over that hurdle. I started the YouTube VORW podcast in 2015. The channel was still going strong. I got this VORW radio show on Shortwave for the first time. Got it on WBCQ. And then over the last year, I was able to take this channel, continue growing it, expand it to extents that I never even thought were possible. And the same goes for this radio show. Take it and try my very best to expand it to, again, extents that I never thought possible. I never thought this show itself would be on as many frequencies as it is. I never thought that this channel would have the amount of viewers and subscribers that it does. I never thought that this channel would be here for 7 years. But you know what? To that I say, I'm going to be here. I'm going to keep this channel going. I still have that drive. I still have that motivation to keep it going. So I'm not going to stop anytime soon. Guarantee, if I'm still here and all's going well, I'll very likely be here for the 10-year anniversary, and who knows going forward. There's a lot of things that give me that motivation and drive when it comes to this channel. Of course, it's people in my personal life, my loved ones. You know, when I'm having a rough time, a rough day, whatever it is, they give me that general motivation to just keep at it. When it comes down to this YouTube channel, it's a lot of the good, loyal viewers and listeners of this broadcast that keep it going. When sometimes if I were to see a lot of people who aren't taking it seriously, right, they're just kind of laughing at it, offering insults or hatred or anything of that nature, I always think, disregard their comments and remarks, and think about all the folks out there who seriously enjoy this channel. The people out there who sometimes send messages or comments or emails that say how this channel really helps them through bad days, when they're going through a tough time in life, when they're going through depression, anxiety, personal issues. They'll watch one of these YouTube videos, they'll tune into one of these shortwave broadcasts, they'll listen to one of my podcasts, whatever it is, and it'll help them through a difficult time. I think of those people. That's one of those other things, most importantly, that kind of keeps this channel going and gives it that drive to just keep it going, you know? And with that, I just want to offer a huge thank you to each and every one of you who are tuned in right now. Whether you're listening to this show on the radio, if you're listening on your phone, if you're listening on SoundCloud, if you're listening on TuneIn, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. It's you guys that keep this channel going. It's you guys that keep this channel, have kept this channel here for 7 years. Thank you all so much. It means a lot to have you tuned in right now. Thank you for listening, and thank you all for your support. Well, I hope you enjoyed that talk. After I recorded it, and after I inserted it into the broadcast, I know I do this to myself sometimes. You know the saying, you are your own harshest critic? I kind of had a bout of that. While I was sitting there, and I was thinking that maybe I should just trash the whole talk, you know. Thought I did a terrible job with it. I thought I was being too saccharine, I suppose. And I was thinking I should just quit it with that, you know. But motivation is something that's extremely important. Sometimes you are both your own best friend and worst enemy. And I kind of suppressed that. I said, you know what, forget what that's saying, ignore it, ignore that, and just put it in there. Be proud of it. Be proud that you went out and recorded that. Go in and see what the audience thinks. You know what? If everyone goes in and says it's terrible and they hated it, well, you learn from your mistakes. But if people liked it and it helped a couple people out, that's awesome, and that's its intention. So, I was struggling with that a little bit anyway in that talk. But I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you liked it. And your feedback, of course, always welcome. In the early VORWs, I'd always say send me an email, but this time just leave a comment. Leave a comment. I told you already, the Rep Week interview email address is a frickin' war zone. I kid you not. I mean, there is so much stuff that flows through that thing a day. I'm talking 500 emails now. It's insane. It's just a mess between genuine letters, trolls, spam offers, legitimate offers, and everything else. So you could just imagine that thing's just, it is a war zone. That's all I can tell you with that. So please, if you have any thoughts on this show or any of its contents, just leave a comment in the comment section. But if you're really committed, you want to email, I'm not going to stop you. The email's there. And it's you know, I'm not saying, don't you email me, you know. I'm just saying, the amount of correspondence that already goes into that inbox is so high, a response isn't going to come. But if you want it to be seen, of course the comment section's pretty crazy too, but leave a comment there. Usually the VORW shows on the YouTube are the most quiet corner of the channel for the most part, with the exception of the old videos. So if you have your feedback, leave it there. Anyway, with that being said, I have 3 last things I want to do in this show, and then I'm done. It's a wrap. Number 1, I want to talk shortwave, everyone's favorite part of the show, but I do. I always have things to say on that subject, and things to say I will. Number 2, one recent thing that I kind of started getting into in the last show was talking about my dreams. Dreams are an incredible thing, and I'm going to discuss another dream I had recently. And number 3, I said to myself as soon as I got out here, I said, listen, it's a nice day. You know, I wasn't feeling the best today, honestly, started out rough. But I said, I'm gonna do as best I can with what I can do. And I'm gonna record, try to record this show. So I went out, I sat out here, started talking, and you know how it goes. You get into the grind, and I'm determined in a good way. It's not like I'm sitting there grinding my nails into this bench and I'm saying, finish the show. No. I'm determined to, just finish it up and get you guys a show. So that's what I'm doing there. And that seems to be working out good. I'm having fun just, kind of talking, letting this stream of consciousness flow out, and go with that. But anyway, since I'm here in the outside, I have my mobile. I have the emails hooked up, so it's a way I can kind of get to a few selected listener questions, maybe 5 per show, and respond to those on air as well. But that's going to be last. Before that is the shortwave talk, and before that, or I guess coming up right now, is talk about another dream. Now, the thing that I think is amazing when it comes down to dreams, even if your mind is completely devoid of any ideas, right? You're saying, you're sitting there, I have no inspiration. I have no ideas. I'm sitting there, I'm looking at stuff, and nothing's coming of it, I mean, I'm lost. I have no ideas whatsoever. I keep trying, I'm pulling at straws here. Even if that is the case, one of the best sources of ideas comes within you. And that's your dreams. Your mind has that amazing ability to concoct situations and scenarios that, can serve as sources of inspiration. Look at this. I'm making a little segment of this show about dreams. It gives me that content right there. Or I can kind of turn these into little short stories and be a little storyteller for 15 minutes or whatever it might be. It's because of dreams. Because it's these things that I wouldn't be able to really come up with on my own. But when you sleep and you just let your mind run wild and do its own thing, you'd be surprised what happens, right? Be surprised what happens, and that's where things stand. But dreams can serve as an amazing thing and source of inspiration. If you're an artist, if you're a musician, you're a YouTuber, whatever it is, just don't discount dreams. You can get so many good ideas from your dreams, you wouldn't even believe it. I've started noting down dreams recently, and the amount of things you can get from them, it's crazy. It's crazy how it is. So just don't discount them. You have bad dreams, you have good dreams, but the wild ones, those are always the best. I've even taken some of my dreams, I've wrote short stories out of them, because it gives you these ideas that could work well for a plot that otherwise, you wouldn't be able to conjure up. So that's where things stand in terms of dreams. Never discount them. Maybe keep like a little dream journal, a little dream diary, should you please, as a way to catalog them, and maybe utilize them in whatever way you wish. It's just a good way to do that, because the one thing to also remember about dreams, when you wake up, now, unless it's like an extremely vivid dream, and usually that's in a bad way, this thing is going to be forgotten fast. I've been victim to this myself, where I will sit there and I just woke up, and I'll be confident. I'll be saying, well, I just got up, I just woke up, but this dream is fresh in my head, right? I could recount this thing just like that. I remember it so vividly right now, there's no way I'm going to forget it. And what happens 2 hours later? You're scratching your head, you're saying, shoot, what was that dream? What was that dream about? What was I doing what? Damn, I wish I wrote it down. Happens to me. So, if you ever have a dream, and you find it of any significance for creativity, like, I'm not saying to go out and buy some book that's being marketed for $35 as a dream journal. Go to a stationery store for like $2, go and buy a notebook, and just put it on your bedside table. If you don't have that, just throw it on the floor next to your bed with a pen attached to it. You wake up, you have a dream that you want to remember, just start jotting it down, just start writing it down. And then once you do that, that commits it to memory. I did that the other day with a dream I had, because I kind of wanted to share it as a verbal rendition and equivalent of like a short story. So, in this dream I had recently, I found myself in a city. Now, what city it was tough, because I've had dreams where the locations are very exact. And I've also had locations in dreams that are either altered in a way that makes them unrecognizable or non-existent, or locations that are just indeterminate. But I have a feeling in this dream I was in a city, a pretty big city. I think it was in Orlando. I was in Orlando, Florida. And I found myself not really downtown, because there weren't any high-rise buildings. I wasn't in the business district or anything like that. But you know, I was in the city. There were lots of cars. There were lots of people, very busy, many buildings close together. So I was in the city. And it's not like in the dream I was sitting there, because sometimes you find dreams where you're sitting there and like you're lost, right? You're lost and you're looking around and you're confused. No, in this dream I had purpose for where I was. What it was, I don't know. But I was there for a reason, and I think I had transacted whatever business it was that I was going about, and it was time for me to head home. So I was going around, and I was walking, and first I wanted to get a bite to eat, right? Because I was in the city, and of course when you're in the city, public transportation is something that is relied upon. Whether you go with the subway, or a taxi, or you take the bus. I was taking the bus. I needed to get on the bus. I needed to get on a bus route and go to the Port Authority. Now that's a New York term, you know, the Port Authority, the MTA Port Authority bus terminal. And that was the vernacular used in the dream. But here in Orlando, there's no place known as the Port Authority. See, this is just how your mind gets to you. It just combines various things from various places. So really, I was looking to get to the main bus station, and then from there, transfer to another bus route, where I would get to my domicile and be at my destination. So I was getting on this bus route. I think it was bus route 13 to the Port Authority, where, as I said, I would thereafter go and get a transfer to the bus route needed to get home. But as I was approaching the bus stop, as many of us do, we have time. We have free time to wait till when the bus gets there, and you think about it, and maybe I'll go into the convenience store, right? Maybe I'll go into the convenience store, buy something to drink, get something to eat, use the restroom, freshen up, whatever. You got time to kill. Maybe you don't want to stand out at the bus stop, too warm, too cold, weather's inclement, you're just not feeling it. I get it. So anyway, I was kind of walking near the bus stop, but there was a Burger King nearby, and I checked my watch, and it was still around 30 minutes until the bus were to arrive. So I said, okay, I got plenty of time to kill. I'm going to go into this Burger King. As much as I despise it, I'm going to go into this Burger King, get something to eat, freshen up in the bathroom, and then go catch this bus. So I go into Burger King. I go in. I think I ordered... It wasn't anything particular. It wasn't the cheesy tots. It wasn't anything like that. I think it was their chicken fries. I think I ordered their chicken fries. I don't recall getting a drink, so I think I just ordered the chicken fries. And it was like during the midday hour. It was around maybe 1 p.m., 2 p.m. So it was the end of the lunch rush. And it was kind of quiet in there, so I felt comfortable. You know, when places are too crowded, I get a bit of an anxiety. I don't feel comfortable, don't really feel safe, so I don't like being there. I want to just get in and out and away as fast as I can. But it was pretty empty in there. As I said, it was just that transitionary period between lunch and dinner, so it was kind of empty, which was good. I went in, I got my chicken fries, I'm sitting at the table by myself, it's quiet, I was watching the traffic outside, ate my meal. By now, I was kind of just taking it slow, taking it easy. As I said, I had this bus to get, but I wasn't going to be there anytime soon. I said, alright, I'm done with the food, I'm going to go throw it out. And, I'm going to just go, use the bathroom. Now, I never thought I would actually be discussing this, but you know that public bathrooms in eateries come in all shapes and sizes. You have the full-blown public bathrooms, where the door, you just push open, kind of like a swinging door, and there's a good line of like stalls and whatever, where it can accommodate a number of people at the same time, a number of sinks, whatever. There could be like 6, 7 people in there, and it could accommodate that. You also have the accessible public bathrooms that come with like maybe 1 or 2 stalls, so they're smaller, but it still has the swinging door and 1 sink, so it could still accommodate like 2 or 3 people, but it's more private, but people can still come and go freely. And then you have the third type, which is like the single person bathroom, where it's just for 1 person, door has a lock on it. That's the one that I hate the most, because you got to knock on the door, and then, you're not sure, the door is giving you a little resistance, is someone on the other side? No one's making any noise? What's going on? And then you worry, God, I look like an idiot here just pounding on this door, That's my least favorite one. Or when you're in there, and you have the door locked, and there's someone banging on it trying to get in. That's never fun. And those are the ones that I always dread. I never like those bathrooms. I don't like that. But anyway, I didn't care. I needed to freshen up. I go to the bathroom, and it was a combination of the worst of the worst. All it was, and this wouldn't be legal in reality. It wouldn't be at all. This bathroom has the swinging door, so there's no lock on it, or no mechanism to keep it shut. And all it is a toilet and a sink, with no stall, nothing. It's literally just a toilet there and a sink with this swinging door. So theoretically, you could just be sitting there doing your business, and someone could just open the door and walk right in, and you can't do anything about that. Of course, I'm certain such a bathroom exists somewhere, but it is such awful engineering that it likely should, if not is, illegal against building codes. It's an extreme violation of one's privacy. But anyway, in this dream world, that's the bathroom that was at Burger King. I was thinking to myself, oh Jesus, I'm going to make this quick. It was just a number 1, so it went quick. And I was done. Was just washing my hands. And all of a sudden, the door swings open. And of all the people that comes in, now, as I said, but I hadn't washed my hands yet. And that's what I was kind of walking to the sink to wash my hands, and the door swings open and someone else is coming in. And my God, who is it? It's it's a big guy, very big. He's a Burger King employee. He's wearing the Burger King uniform, the gray ensemble. And he's got the little name tag, and I think the little, whatever that is, the little baseball cap or piece of headgear. He's not the manager, he's just a Burger King employee, maybe like the cashier or something. But of all the people, it's that one guy from the show Pawn Stars, Chumley. The guy, you can look him up, you know what I'm talking about. But it's this guy, Chumley from Pawn Stars, and he's a Burger King employee. And he walks into the bathroom and he says, "Hey, you're the reporter of the week. Let me shake your hand." And I felt very uncomfortable because he's an intimidating character. He might not be all brawn, but he was a very big guy in comparison to me. He was almost kind of, I didn't have much room in there. And he's there right there at the door, and he wants to shake my hand. And I tell him, listen, I'd love to, but I gotta wash my hands first. And it was like he didn't really understand that. He would say, well, why can't you shake mine? I said, I gotta wash my hands. He said, why you... He's kind of giving me this really weird, hard time. Saying, listen, it's hygienic. It's just what I would be comfortable doing, and then I'll gladly shake your hand. And do whatever, take a selfie with you, whatever you want. I wash my hands up. I have my encounter with Chumley from Pawn Stars, who in this dream is a Burger King employee. And I see myself out of the building. So alright, it's time to walk over to the bus stop. I walk over there. It's not impressive for a bus stop at all, I'll tell you that. It's, all it is a little post sticking out of the ground, and that's it. There's no bus shelter or anything. So I'm out there in the sun, checking my watch. Alright, it says the bus is going to be here for 5 minutes. Okay. I'm waiting. And the way public buses are nowadays, by and large, at least here in Florida, but also in New York, is the buses are nicer. I mean, the MTA buses are nice. Transport of Rockland buses are nice. Jersey Transit's nice. Westchester, I don't know much about. Here in Florida, the public transit buses are pretty good, though. And in Orlando, the Winx buses, you know, they're of good quality. They're pretty new. All these buses, they're mostly new. They're updated. It's not like they're, you know, they're really old or anything. But I'm looking down the street. I see this bus. And on the top, just barely, it's marked as Route 13. And I mean, it is this broken down, you know, old school bus. I'm thinking to myself, what the heck? Is this really my bus? You know, see, God, this can't be, you know? You know, the school buses, they're like the lowest tier in terms of public transportation. I mean, these things are pieces of trash. You know, I'm not talking about the college buses, which can actually be good. I'm talking about the public school buses. That is literally the absolute low of the low when it comes down to buses. And this wasn't even in good condition. This is one of those older school buses with the flat front. You know, nowadays it mostly has a standard front, but sometimes you see the older school buses where it's just completely flat in the front. And this was one of those buses. And it was painted white, and it said Route 13 on the top. I flag it down, and the driver, you know, he's dressed, you know, with the shirt and tie. He's definitely an employee. And I say, you know, is this bus Route 13 that goes to the Port Authority? And he says, yeah. I say, all right, fine. You know, how much will that be? Because you could pay in cash. Now, mind you, I was in the city, and the Port Authority is in the city as well. Okay, it's not like this is a drive that's going to take an hour. You know, it's not like this is a Greyhound bus or anything like that. This is going to be like maybe like a 10, 15-minute bus ride at most. And usually most buses, they charge just a flat fee for the ride. Some don't. Some are different. But usually they'll charge like between $1 and $5. Sometimes as much as $10, depending on how far away it is. But nothing more than that for, again, such a short thing. I say to the bus driver, I say, alright, you know, how much will it be? And he tells me $35 to literally drive about 5-10 minutes to this bus station. Just so I can transfer. Say $35. He says, yeah, take it or leave it. Shoot, I give him $40, get the $5 back. I get on the bus. Seats aren't any better. You know those faux leather seats you get on the school buses? some of them that are just cut to all hell and filthy. Well, these were the seats too, and there was no air conditioning, which you could imagine in Florida is a nightmare. It was bumpy, it was rickety, it was odorous, it was pretty crowded, seats were in terrible condition, and I had just blown $35 for this terrible, terrible bus ride. Well, the bus was driving along to the, get to the Port Authority, and then I woke up. Yep, the end. So that was my dream. Got to hear me recount the world's best public bus experience. At least there was no public bus company name that was given in the dream, so I don't know what this was really about. But all I know... Ooh, there goes a nice classic car. That's a 1950s Chevy Bel Air, bright yellow, that just went by. It's cool. I don't know what bus company it was about, and maybe that's for the best. But either way, if I ever see a bus like that coming, I'm not getting on it, saving myself $35 and a terrible experience, and I may as well just hail a cab, or nowadays, as those in vogue do, I'll get an Uber and take that route. Though that might be just as expensive, I don't know. I was reading the other day on the radio, actually I heard the other day on the radio, some guy in the state of West Virginia, drunk, called an Uber to get, I guess he was like a college student in West Virginia, and he must have been going on a kegger or whatever, or bender, because he must have been 3 sheets to the wind. He called an Uber, not to get to his dormitory, but to go back to his original house in New Jersey. And sure enough, he took it. And some driver was actually willing to do that. He ended up paying, just because he was drunk, $1,800 for this Uber ride, just to end up having to go back to West Virginia to begin with, because he was still in school there and had to get to class. Thinking, yep, that's what inebriation does to some. Make really stupid decisions, and there he is out at least $2,000. Plus he has to get away back to West Virginia, which, maybe he could get a friend to drive him back, or he could take the Amtrak, he could take the Northeast Regional to Roanoke, and then from there maybe get a friend to meet him there and go to West Virginia. But boy, I swear, right? But that was an actual legitimate story. It's pretty crazy how that is, yeah. But anyway, that was my dream. Hope you enjoyed it. What I've been trying to do is I've been trying to mark down any dreams that are remarkable, and from there just kind of share them with you. I think it could be a fun little segment to this, little just kind of whimsical, fantastical stories that I could spend 15-20 minutes sharing with all of you. You're listening to VORW, the voice of the Report of the Week. If you are interested, correspondence, please leave in the comments below, though if you are, once again, very much dedicated, you may email VORW, actually, repweekinterview1@gmail.com. That's repweekinterview1@gmail.com. Hope you've been enjoying the show so far. This is VORW Time Check. Okay. Well, I plug shortwave radio all the time. I mean, that's my niche. That's my shtick, as I say. And I see it for good reason. Now, I know not everyone's going to be agreeing with me there, but I personally think, if you're listening, get shortwave radio. Doesn't matter where you are. If you're in North America, South America, Central America, the Caribbean, or Western Europe, you can get a shortwave radio and you can listen to my show on it. I'll even read off the full schedule fast, and then you could slow it down if you want to get the exact transmissions. All times Eastern. Every Thursday, 5 a.m. Eastern, 9455 kilohertz, Southwestern United States. 3 p.m. Eastern every Thursday, 7780 kilohertz, 9455 kilohertz, Eastern North America, Western Europe. 6 p.m. Eastern every Thursday, 9955 kilohertz, Central South America, the Caribbean, reception possible in North America as well. 7 p.m. Eastern every Thursday, 7730 kHz Western North America. 8 p.m. Eastern every Thursday, 5850, 5950, 7780, 9395, 9455 kHz to all of North America. Listeners in Western North America are really throughout all of the continent tuned to 5850. Listeners in Florida and the Caribbean tuned to 5950. Listeners in Eastern North America, especially New England, Eastern Canada, and Europe, tuned to 7780. Listeners throughout the Mid-Atlantic and even the real East Coast, 9395 kHz. Listeners in Texas and parts of the Gulf of Mexico area, as well as Mexico, 9455 kHz. And every Sunday, at 4 p.m. Eastern, frequencies of 9395 and 7780 kHz, North America and Europe being the target areas. Anyway, that's if you want to listen to my show. I suggest it. I could be like a infomercial salesman and I could say, and listeners recommend it. But it is true, there are many accounts of listeners who do tune in every week on Shortwave, and this comes from their mouths, not mine, where they say it's something about the authenticity of listening to the show on an actual radio that just adds to the experience and just kind of makes it special and even the more entertaining. I think it's cool. I mean, wouldn't it be pretty fun to be able to listen to a show you like on an actual radio? I don't know. I know it's not for everyone. But again, I suggest it. If you're anywhere in North America, anywhere in South America, anywhere in Central America, the Caribbean, or even Western Europe, you can listen to my show on Shortwave. Yes, you can. You can indeed. With a good signal, too. And, I've been trying to expand the show as best I can. Shortwave, people say it's a dying medium. They say that it's dead. No one broadcasts on it anymore. No one listens to it anymore. And I want to offer a rebuttal to those claims. It's not what it used to be. But there's stations out there, and there's an audience out there. And I can prove the audience part, because I broadcast on shortwave myself. I hear from an audience. If there wasn't any audience, I wouldn't be hearing from anyone. As for stations, you can listen to a variety of stuff. You can listen to international broadcasters, foreign radio, all sorts of stuff. And you could even hear more on shortwave than you'd think, even at unsuspecting times. My case in point, dear listeners, it's 2:31 p.m. right now. Afternoon. If you've been a long-time listener of this show, you remember what I said about the afternoon dead zone. But if you're willing to tolerate this for a minute or two, I'm going to put my microphone on my knee, like so. Take a sip of water from my water bottle. This is just a telescopic antenna. Listen with me, see what we pick up.
Sécuriser les forces de l'ordre, les forces armées, pardon. Where skill, education, jobs and opportunities going to come from.
Jami'an tsaron sun ce janye dakaran zai bawa kungiyar Al-Shabaab dama ta sake día cero, el día que todos temen en Ciudad del Cabo. Ese día.
Yes, a lot of in the past.
To the signal system of the shot.
Because there is a basis for help.
And if I ask myself the question, where do I stand in relationship to Christ?
Autour de l'état-major. J'ai attendu un bus où il surgissait vers là-bas.
mun tattauna al'amuran da matsayin ya saka maimaita wanda ke da alhakin cutuwa.
الذين ظلموا وبشرى للمحسنين electrónicas en cuestión de minutos.
In just a minute, but finishing up, he's laughing. He likes my invitation. There you go. I always go crazy in the third hour.
Babylon is king. And she was told, which is
Sacerdote periodo ulterior dice que esto de Tefanulis.
Y se llenaron los pantanos, no debemos volver a la forma antigua de...
and she said those.
Dice que el Manchester City, mis amigos, pues lidera la Premier League con 16 puntos de ventaja sobre su.
Well, as you could see, even at a time that's considered to be a dead zone to North America, I don't know if it's just me, but I certainly heard a lot more than what would be considered a dead zone. There's stuff out there. That's what I'm trying to say. Anyway, if you want to get a radio, I highly recommend you get one. Again, I'd recommend you listen to my show on it, because, well, of course, you know, I've got to get that out. Lots of people do. Lots of people are pleased with doing so and have a lot of fun listening. But at the same point, shortwave, one of its main benefits is, you know, it's like AM radio, but it could cover extremely huge distances. And it serves as kind of a last-ditch means of communication when all others fail. Over here in the United States, we mostly have severe storms, hurricanes, earthquakes to worry about. But, you know, you'll be damned. Things can change but so fast you wouldn't even know. Censorship, war, disaster, and those communication means we take so much for granted, especially internet, mobile, and television, just crumble. They crumble so easily. You know, when storms, you name it, those things are out so fast. And it's oftentimes we're relying on others to bring it back. We just don't go ourselves and say, oh, you know, we lost power. All right, I'm going to go out and restore it myself so I can get the Wi-Fi back. Or the Wi-Fi's out, the internet's out. All right, no problem. I'm going to go fix the cable myself. No, that doesn't happen. Radio is one of those means. Sometimes people look at it as legacy technology, but it's one of those things that when all else fails, so many people are grateful to have it. I recommend everyone get a shortwave radio. They can be good for what they are. I have many inexpensive models that I recommend. If you're interested, you can inquire via email to vorwinfo@gmail.com, but I always recommend getting the Texun, not Texan, Texun, T-E-C-S-U-N, Texun PL380 radio. If you don't want to get that, get the Texun PL310 ET radio. Those are two good, very good, inexpensive radios. The Tivdio V115 radio is good. Now, someone complained, they said, take it off the list, it's not good. But I've gotten about a dozen emails from listeners in the last few weeks who have been listening to my show on that very radio, and they pick it up. They send reports, they say signal's good. So, I guess it all depends, but that's the cheapest one you could get, but usually people report pretty good experiences, but again, it's money's worth. It's like under $20. But again, it's, you know, could be a starter radio too. You want to get into it, don't have the money, but you could save up. You could try that one out. Some more expensive radios, but are good. The C Crane Skywave radio, that's the CC Skywave radio. The Texun PL660, 660, it's a good one. And if you really want to blow a couple bucks, get the Texun PL-880. PL880 radio, the Texan PL880 radio. That's a good one. But yeah, I recommend getting a radio. Just my 2 cents, my personal view, but it's just something that I think is so underappreciated, especially on these online mediums such as YouTube. People, they take it for granted. They think it's going to be here forever. Of course, the internet will be here for a very long time. Doesn't mean that it's incapable of going out and not coming back for a long, long time, or being altered in some way, shape, or form. Hey, I'm not going to force you to do a certain thing, but my mere opinion. In terms of the international broadcasting roundup, there's not much to report, as I said in the last show. We've reached a period where the stations that are on shortwave are essentially here to stay. And the stations that have left shortwave are gone. The two changes that are kind of coming are both good. Don't really concern the parts of the world you're most likely in, but good nonetheless. India, which is a big player in shortwave, they operate All India Radio as an external service, but they also run some domestic networks too, because shortwave is still popular in parts of India. And they're going to start up a new shortwave transmission to the Indian Ocean. You might say, well, why are they wasting money to start up some shortwave broadcasts just to the ocean? Well, for the fishermen, because during a recent cyclone, I think about 200 fishermen, Indian fishermen, were killed because they didn't have adequate warning of the approaching storm, and they sadly died. And most fishing vessels, now especially in that part of the world, but even here in North America, usually have shortwave radio. Most of the time. I'm not saying all of them do, but a lot of fishing vessels, even in developed countries, have shortwave, let alone in the developing world. So All India Radio made some plans. They're going to start up some broadcasts beamed to the Indian Ocean for all the fishermen out there who can listen on shortwave and provide them with adequate warning of storms and weather conditions that they can tune in and listen to avoid the calamity that happened earlier. That's good news. Another piece of good news comes from Russia. The Voice of Russia and Radio Rossai, which is Radio Russia, their domestic network, both left shortwave in 2014. That kind of leads to some head scratch, and if you've been a long-time listener enough, you know shortwave especially has its benefits, and sometimes its highest listenership in very remote, rural areas. You sit there and think to yourself, Russia, Siberia, right? There's people out there in the middle of nowhere who probably can't even pick up the AM stations. And they're telling me they don't even have any shortwave stations they can listen to? Well, that's what happened originally. There was a CEO of that network that was just a little too forward-thinking. A little too forward-thinking. And saw shortwave, didn't really know what it was, said it's a legacy medium, just shut all the transmitters off. Shut the shortwave off, get rid of long wave. They could listen on FM, right? They could listen online. No worries there. Why can't they can listen online? They got a phone, right? Yeah, wishful thinking, right? Well, they shut down Voice of Russia in 2014, brought it back as Radio Sputnik, but that's online only, so no chance of that returning. But their transmission provider was smart enough that instead of scrapping the transmitters, they continued to maintain them. Despite not broadcasting anything, they still kept all their radio transmitters in good condition in case they were to be reactivated, because someone there at least had a brain and realized someone's going to come to us eventually and say that they're going to need a shortwave service for certain listeners. And sure enough, what happened? In 2015, in a very remote part of Siberia, reactivated a station. 250 kilowatts, broadcasting news and information to listeners in that part of Russia. And now another station has been reactivated in, pardon my pronunciation, I think the Kamchatka Peninsula, and those very remote parts of East Russia. Sure enough, listeners had been complaining since 2014, saying that ever since they discontinued the broadcasts there, they haven't been able to get content of any sort. So Radio Russia reactivated a transmitter there, 100 kilowatts, and it's beamed up towards East Russia in that regard, 6 hours a day, to provide listeners there news and entertainment, because they were completely in the dark otherwise. So I'm glad that certain broadcasters, at least despite past decisions that are stupid, came forward and at least maybe admitted their faults and are reactivating where necessary. On one final note, the Broadcasting Board of Governors, which is the organization which oversees the Voice of America and all of their related entities, released their budget for 2019. And they made some smart moves as well. As I said, the stations which exist right now are the ones that are wise enough to continue broadcasting on shortwave. The ones that are here right now are likely here to stay. The ones that are gone are gone. And that's been proven once again with the Voice of America's budget, which is being released for 2019. Where they're micromanaging, they're managing things. They're going to close the shortwave site in the Philippines, only to add a few transmitters to their site in Kuwait, because electricity is cheaper in Kuwait, and they want to have as many transmitters as possible at this site because it's cost effective. And from Kuwait they can reach a lot of places. They can reach Africa, the Middle East, they could even reach Asia as well. So why pay all this money to manage an expensive site that's just costing them all these, probably millions of dollars, when they can just switch to a more cost-effective site and still maintain the transmissions? Well, that's what they're going to do. They're going to decommission the site in Philippines and dismantle it, but at the cost, they're going to be adding 2 additional 250 kilowatt transmitters to their site in Kuwait, which will now have a total of like a dozen transmitters. So they're just reorganizing things. When it comes down to their other site, this took me off guard. They're going to be adding a new focus to Central and South America with the VOA Spanish service, and they're actually going to be adding some transmitters right here in the United States. They're going to be adding 3 250 kilowatt transmitters to their site in South Carolina, and that's being done so they can expand their services to South America on shortwave. So that took me off guard, but honestly I can't complain about the budget. It seems very wise to me. They're actually managing it in a way that will extend the lifespan of shortwave as long and as best as they can, and especially when they're investing new transmitters into things, it's a promising sign to me that they're going to be around a while longer. So good on them. Alright, we're now on to the last part of the show, where I just read and respond to a select few emails, maybe 5 at most. This first one comes from Conrad in Germany. I've been watching your videos for the past 2 years now, so I'm not that new on your channel. I enjoyed a lot of your recent videos besides the great food reviews. So I enjoyed the videos such as the What I'm Obsessed With and How I Get Through a Bad Day video. Both of these videos helped me a lot to become a better person. It's hard to describe, but it's true. You're one of the few YouTubers I watch on an everyday basis. I love the content. Keep up the great work, and I wish you a great day, sir. Thank you very much, Conrad. It's always emails like yours when, I always get people saying, review this, review that, and that's always nice. But when it's people that write in and say, these videos help me out. They help me with my anxieties. They help me with my depression. They help me with my worries. They help me relax after a hectic or bad day. They inspire or motivate me to be a better person. It's those emails that really do mean a lot. Give me that motivation and inspiration myself to keep all this going. So thank you. Thank you very much for that, and it's absolutely my pleasure to really do these videos and I guess help you out and inspire you to be really the best person that you can be. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. On to our next one. Nicholas writes in, Dearest Review Bra, I've drawn this portrait of you as best I could. I've never drawn a YouTuber before, but I'm a giant fan of your videos and VORW show. This is from your review of Monster Hydro. If you think this drawing is an insult because it's bad, it's not. It's just my limitations. I have a question. What is your preferred suit style? Colorless, like black or gray, or colored? Thank you for reading this, brah. From Nicholas. Well, thank you for your artwork, Nicholas. And no, don't worry about it at all. I'm going to feature it in this show, as I will a few other pieces of art. And as for the suit style, I like the solid color suits. Like right now I'm wearing a black suit. I like wearing black suits, gray suits, but I do have some colorful suits as well. I have a brown suit, I have a blue suit, a few blue suits, a green suit, so I do have them in other colors, but for the most part I like just keeping it mostly to black and gray. But thank you very much for taking the time out of your day to make this piece of fan art. Thank you very much for your email. This next one comes from Connor in California. Dear John, I'm a huge fan and just wanted to thank you for your reviews. I'm a culinary arts student, and I admire your love for fast, casual food. I've been following you for a while now, and I started watching you around the Wetzel's Pretzels review. The video made me realize there were other people who hated pretzels as much as I do. Overrated. I hope you find success in whatever is your plan for the future. I hope your passion for food can bring you closer to friends as family as much as it has for me. Congratulations on 700,000 subscribers. Your fan, Connor. Well, thank you, Connor. The one thing to keep in mind when it comes down to pretzels and all that stuff, I do not inherently hate pretzels. It's pretzels from that one establishment I don't like. But, you know, Auntie Anne's, for instance, which does a really good pretzel, and sadly I see them nowhere anymore. I really enjoy their stuff. I like what they do. So it depends on the certain type of pretzels, but some do it better than others, admittedly, but I don't inherently hate pretzels. Number two, when you mention food and all of that, I get what you're trying to say, but and I mean this not to be a criticism, but I'm just trying to correct a technicality. I know that the main focus of this channel was, or at least was, food, right? It was food reviews, and all of that, but really I'm trying to work really hard on making this channel a variety channel, not exclusively a food channel, because really I don't see myself working as some sort of master chef or working on Food Network or anything like that. So when it comes down to it, it's an interest, but I wouldn't consider it a passion or something to do for a career choice in the future. So I try to make it like a variety channel, something to do, as I said, as a variety, where someone can go, and if they want to hear my thoughts on food, they can hear those thoughts. But if they want to hear my thoughts on other matters as well, such as radio, miscellaneous topics, whatever, even come for some silly, funny videos, they can do that too. So I try to keep it as varied as I can. It's something I've been working hard to really diversify it. So again, it's not exclusively food-based, but it has a little bit of everything. But thank you again for your question and your kind email. This is a short email from an anonymous viewer. Dearest Bra, your personality is extremely amusing. I'm a gigantic fan, watch all of your videos. Your humor and style enlighten my day. Keep up what you're doing. All the best. Thank you very much for your kind words and your kind email, and it's very much appreciated. Thank you. And our final email. Dear Mr. the Report of the Week, I have become resolute in the conclusion that I am positively certain you receive plenty of emails, among other direct messages, on differing platforms, and I thought perhaps it would not be so coarse of me to add to them. I took it upon myself to watch your videos about your lifestyle. You see, I personally tend to dress up as you do. I enjoy it, as it is what I most identify with, but it was very pleasurable hearing about the transition from a male perspective. I could see why wearing suits all the time would attract discourteous attention, as it often does with the way I dress. But I would like to say I am impressed with how properly you execute your style and the manner in which you carry yourself confidently, which many cannot do in this postmodern era, even without standing out knowingly. I would like you to know that I am a simple person who enjoys your commentary on a wide assortment of topics. I am certainly looking forward to what your content I am certainly looking forward to what content you provide in the future. Thank you for taking the time to endeavor yourself to read. I'm dearly sorry if I've caused an interruption in what I'm sure is a busy schedule. With all due respect, Miss Alexandria. Thank you very much for taking the time to write this email. It's a very kind email, and I appreciate your feedback and consideration. Thank you for listening to this program. This concludes this broadcast of VORW. You can also tune into our radio show every Thursday. You can find the schedule posted above. If you're interested in more information on that, send me an email, vorwinfo@gmail.com. Feedback on this program is appreciated in the comments. If you'd like to submit any fan art to be featured in the next program, you may submit designs to repweekinterview1@gmail.com. That's repweekinterview1@gmail.com. Please help keep this channel going. Your financial support via Patreon is always appreciated. Patreon.com/The Report of the Week. New merchandise is also continually released on Teespring. Teespring.com/stores/The Report of the Week. PayPal donations are also appreciated. PayPal to repweekinterview1@gmail.com. That's repweekinterview1@gmail.com. Thank you for listening. Take care. This is VORW.